It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
You haven't grown up because a lot of us, when we're a child, we focus on childish things. But as we advance, as we mature, at some point, we need to start focusing on more mature things. And money and finances are no different.
Well, I think about it, like The Boss. He's got his song Glory Days.
Like Springsteen, The Boss?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He's got that song Glory Days. And we all know somebody that look, there's... I went to spring training in the spring, right before COVID shut everything down, with my high school buddies that I had not seen in forever. And there is nothing better than getting with people that you've known since you were 5 years old, and it doesn't matter where you come from, what's going on in your life. There's just something very pure about people that you've known back when you were in your developmental years. But it is one of those things, I want to tell you, that's the positive side. I think that is pure to people you knew probably when you were 5 years old, 10 years old. There's something that doesn't have the malarkey that we deal with in adults when people say, hey, what do you do for a living? And all the other stuff that comes with that. But there is something too, if you find that you're getting older, and because we all go through this journey, at least I'm going to be self-deprecating. I went through some times where, in college, you're on the party scene a little bit, and then you're in your 20s, and you're like, well, this is still what I'm supposed to do in my 20s. But you're going to find as you get older, some things that you did just change. What creates happiness for you, what you want to do with your time is going to evolve. And I think that happens financially too.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I bet, Brian, when you and this group of guys that you've been going on these trips with for years and years and years, I bet when you were 18 or 19 years old, the conversations you had and the things that you were focused on and the things you were thinking about were one thing. And now, as you are approaching your 50s, they are very much different.
It's us showing pictures of our kids.
Yeah, that's right?
Talking about, man, I feel like a complete old man when you say that, because you're right. When you're 18 years old or even 22 years old, if you're talking about kids and what they're,
it's just different.
It's a different thing. And that lets, I think in show note prep, y'all are like, what are you doing with this?
This was a Brian idea that none of us were ready for.
This is a Brian. I like to immerse myself not only in the great classics of literature as well as reading financial stuff, but I keep up with pop culture. And this drives my wife crazy too. So I got pulled into this Bravo series called Vanderpump Rules.
Okay.
This is very so un-Brian.
I know nothing about this.
If you want to know how I got on this rabbit,
context.
if anybody's watched Below Deck, I talked to Hannah about it. She just left. But I loved Below Deck. I got pulled in because that's where you have these mega super yachts, and then you got the crew that work on them, and then you got these people that come on, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Well, because I watched this on Hulu, it was like, well, if you like that, you're going to love this. So I went on this Vanderpump Rules binge fest, and here's what I think is interesting, and it applies to today's show and point 5, you haven't grown up. This show started, I think, in 2012.
Okay.
And it has followed these young 20 and 30-somethings all the way through, we're 2018. By the way, if we showed you the first season picture, it's about half these people, because half these people are either brand new hires or they're the boyfriends or spouses of these people. And I think they had to bring in more people because the reality is the 30-somethings that they covered in season 1, some of them have gotten married. Some of them have very serious boyfriends or girlfriends. And then some have now started business ventures with Lisa Vanderpump, and they've gotten boring. So they probably had to bring in younger people because, look, only 20-somethings and 30-somethings who think it's fun to go out and get drunk and have a camera crew there and watch and record every little thing. You only do that so often. Eventually you graduate. If you're doing life probably what I consider appropriately, you just go realize if you're the oldest person at the party that's getting drunk, you might not be doing life right. If you look around the room and you're older than everybody else in the room and they're living this lifestyle, you might not be. I think the saddest country song out there is when Bocephus, when he's talking about that all of his old other friends are drinking sweet tea and all of his rowdy friends have grown up. I think that is one of those things where Hank Williams Jr. needed somebody to nudge him and go,
reel him in.
Hank, maybe you're not doing it all, maybe you're not doing it right. It's one of those things. And I think that is the way Vanderpump Rules, weird example, but I think it is true. It's a case study of how, as we get older, you're going to start adulting a little differently.
So that's a great, how do you know if you're ready for this stage? Well, a great thing you can do is you can do a peer inventory. Are the people that I'm surrounding myself with focused on and thinking about and having the conversations that folks at our stage of life should be having? If they're not, perhaps you need to do a self-assessment. Perhaps you even need to think about a new peer group.
Well, this is different than peer pressure. Peer pressure is when somebody's trying to get you to do something that's detrimental or bad or something like that. And we always hear about peer pressures after school specials. I'm talking about doing a peer review of looking around you, because you are the sum. What is that? It's that motivational speaker. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it is one of those things, if you look around your group, and, I will tell you, I hate to keep bringing up these self-reflective stories. My sophomore year, we got our first off-campus apartment. And I remember our Fridays and Saturdays were going and using an ID, an inappropriate ID, buying beer and playing video games. And I remember looking around going, surely there is more to college than me playing video games and drinking beer. And that's actually what I decided to go into. I went into the Greek system as a sophomore, because I was independent all my freshman year, because I just wanted more out of college. And I think that you have to look at your life and ask, do I want more out of life? And am I going to be a proactive player in making that happen? And, and Bo, you say this all the time, and this is a 7 habit of highly effective people. Begin with the end in mind.
Yeah, a sure sign of a grown-up is someone who has been and is continually focused on the end that they are working towards. They're not folks who just let life happen and are just kind of going with the flow. They know that the decisions they're making are ultimately moving them through to some goal, whatever that goal may be, and they constantly think and reassess and refocus on that. They know the end that they want to be at, and they're constantly making decisions, trying to move themselves along in that path.
Now, we have some shortcuts here because you're part of the Money Guy family. I want you to go check out some of our by age series. We have, our net worth by age.
Yep.
We have debts by age. We have
401k balance by age.
There is so many incredible things that you can go look at that will allow you to not only use your peer review, looking around to the people you hang out with, but also to look at some of the data we've tried to compile and research for you. And then I want to close it out with just one final thing that kind of ties into, in step 4, I mentioned know your why. And this ties into number 5, you haven't grown up, is the fact that if you can wake up in the morning and know that you are doing what you were put here to do, you actually enjoy going to work, you actually feel like in your own little small way making the world a better place, you're going to be so much more fulfilled. You're going to be so much more happy. That's going to put you at the tippity top of that triangle of self-actualization. So I just want you, that is a tremendous blessing that I want you to focus on so you can figure out, where am I at in life? What do I need to do? And how do I get there? And if you can do all those steps, you're going to find you will be happier and you will reach your goals.
Building wealth is surprisingly simple, but it's not easy.
That's exactly right.
Being wealthy, I would argue, is also surprisingly simple, but it's not easy either. You have to not think like the crowd. You have to make sure that you are following these signs to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. And if you can do that at an early age and figure that early on, you're going to set yourself up for a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
Yeah, you got it. Walt Disney would be very happy with you. So here's the thing, guys. Close to 100,000. Go ahead, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I also want you to go out to the website. Bo described it earlier. We have free resources. That's right, completely free. Just go to moneyguy.com/resources. One of the big things that usually people want is they want the financial order of operations. Yep. They want, what's the fancy name for
how powerful are your dollars?
How powerful are your dollars? Go check out those things. And then don't forget, we work with clients all across the country. The reason this works out, and I was trying to explain this, and I do a horrible job of it, but just bear with me. Abundance Cycle works like this. You come, get tons of free advice, learn, apply, grow the concepts till you reach the point of success. You say, you know what? This has gotten complex. Bo just told me, yes, wealth creation is simple but far from easy. I can also affirm that as you get more successful, it's going to get more complicated without you even looking for it. When you get to that point, you're going to say, who do I want to work with? I hope you'll remember the Abound Wealth team that's been putting together great content for the Money Guy family. So, guys, consider that. That's the Abundance Cycle. Go check out the free resources. Thank you for all that you provide to the Money Guy team. And we're going to keep creating great content. Got a new employee starting in the, next 2 weeks?
That's right.
So that couldn't be possible without you guys investing in the show as well. So hopefully we haven't nicknamed him yet, so we'll go soft on him pretty easily in the beginning. But thank you for all the support, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Money Guy team out.